Hello, welcome to Record Sports Hotline Live. My name is Daniel Caw. I'm delighted to be joined by Record Sports Scott McDermott. Scott, how goes it?
I'm good, Daniel. You okay?
I'm very good, thanks. I'm delighted to say that Keith Jackson's been dropped. A few below par performances, and the perfect man to bring in his stead, the one and only Ryan Stevenson. Ryan, how's it going?
It's good, mate. It's good. That's good that Keith's not here as well. That's a decent
bonus.
turn up for the books.
Obviously, Ryan, we've got you on off the back of a seismic result yesterday for Hearts in the title race, I guess. Before we come on to Celtic, I thought Hearts were brilliant yesterday. I thought Cammy Devon was an absolute standout. And I know a lot of people I saw on social media saying Celtic had a lot of chances or should have taken them. I thought Hearts were fully deserving of the 3 points.
Yeah, listen, I think I said it when I was there. I was commentating the game. Celtic were going to come out all guns blazing. There's a new manager. There was going to be a reaction. I think the buzz round about the ground for the fans. So I fully expected Celtic to come out and be all guns blazing. Now, every team that goes to Celtic Park at some stage is going to have to endure a bit of time where they're under pressure. Hearts done that for 10-15 minutes. Yes, they rode their luck. Celtic had a great opportunity. They missed it. And then after that, I think Hearts, it was a perfect away performance, to be totally honest with you. I think as soon as Celtic went under a bit of stress, you kind of seen they went back into their old traits. And I think Hearts just capitalised on it. I mean, I actually thought Braga's goal was offside initially, obviously from where I was sitting. But, I mean, great striker play to actually see it through. I think a lot of players would maybe have sat there and thought, I stood there and been like, oh, I'm offside. I think Casper Schmeichel to an extent did think that. But Braga put it away. And then I think in the second half, again, I fancied them from set pieces. I said that before the game started. I just fancied Hearts. I think Hearts looked dangerous. Finley's been effective this year. Halkett's been effective. And to be fair, the header for McEntee was absolutely outstanding. And other than maybe a couple of minutes in the second half, I think Hearts done a job on Celtic. That's what I said at the end of the game. They're going to be under pressure, of course, you are at some stage. But I think in the main, I think Hearts played Celtic really well.
I mean, you've been a player, obviously, at the highest level in this country, Ryan. Looking at Celtic, Wilfred Nonce, were you surprised that he changed his system? And as a player, would that have made a big difference to you, or you know?
Listen, there's a couple of ways to look at it. I think as a player, you have to be able to play different formations. And to say that players can't play different formations, I mean, they're professional footballers, so they should be adaptable. I do think, given the circumstances of the full thing, where I don't think Celtic have been that great this season. I mean, they're still, obviously, to yesterday, they were joint top. I think under Martin, I think Martin's connection with the club, and I think Martin's connection with the fans, and just all that sort of energy round about it, I think it got Celtic over the line in a lot of the games, other than 1 and 2 when they played really, really well. I think just having Martin there helped them. I think that he set them into a shape where they were hard to beat. It was pretty, which I liked. It was pretty bog standard, the fact that let's play in the other team's half, let's try and make things happen, let's get it in the box quick. And that's the way I think football should be played. That's just my personal opinion. I said before the game yesterday as well, I felt it would go two ways. I think if you're a player, I mean, again, it's a crazy week for Celtic. I mean, they've got Hearts, who are joint top. They then go away to Roma. They then get a cup final. Nonce's had 2 days in the building. He comes in, and I think the players would be sitting there saying, I wonder what he's going to do here. We all would have been. And I kind of wondered, and I said before the game started, I wonder if he's named his team and he's named his shape. As soon as he walks out that changing room, I wonder what the players have said. Because I've done it. I've sat there and I've said, I'm not feeling this. I'm not sure about this. Or were they backing him 100%? And I have to say, as much as it was a great performance against from Hearts yesterday in the main, if Celtic play that formation against Roma, I think they will get absolutely battered. I mean, they were just so wide open at times. The spaces down the sides of the back three, I don't think they look, as I said, under any stress. I don't think they look comfortable. and I can kind of understand the fans' frustration. I don't think, and I'm not being disrespectful because I've been a player, I don't think a lot of the players are Celtic players. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. I think when they're all good players, yes, but I think that strip weighs heavy. And I mean that more in the sense of when their backs were against the wall yesterday, I didn't really see any other than Callum McGregor, who tries to keep things going, but he's never really going to, I don't think, I know he scored a great goal against St Mirren, but overly affect the game going forward at times. There was no other player that I looked at and thought, is he rallying the other players? Is he going to grab the ball and go and get it and try and take the game by the scruff of the neck? And it just kind of petered out. And I said that before the game started. If Wilfred Nancy thought he was coming in here and it was going to be about performances and, you know, I'm not really bothered about results and all that, he is absolutely crazy, because undoubtedly it is about results. And if there was ever a reckoning or the penny dropping for him, it had to be yesterday, where he ain't going to get enough time to go and work on performances and all that. He has to get results.
Ryan, you're talking about the Celtic players there, right? What can that result do for Hearts players, though? Like, you think about the mindset of those Hearts players. You know, they've had a great start to the season, sitting top, getting a lot of plaudits. You know, they beat Celtic at home, which isn't that unusual. They cannot, you know, they've raised their game, you know, at Tynecastle before to beat the Old Firm, and then they have that wee dip where people are starting questioning them. People saying, it was kind of false hope that they would be involved in it. But to actually go to Celtic Park, the team that people are saying, they'll be champions again, they're miles better, they'll have a good run under Martin O'Neill. To actually go there and put that performance in and win, not just get a point, actually go there and win. Surely those Hearts players, if they needed it, they must believe now, surely, that they can put up a challenge this season. With everything you're saying about the Celtic team, we know where Rangers are, the kind of state they've been in. See, coming away from Celtic Park, what do you think's going through their players' minds? Are they thinking, like, that's the best we're going to face this season? Yeah. We can actually do this.
Yeah, I think yesterday was so pivotal. To be fair, I think just because I wouldn't even say it's a wobble. They'd played okay. They'd made sort of mistakes in games. They'd been punished for it. I think they could have played better against Motherwell. Obviously, they got punished for the mistake against Kilmarnock. But I think yesterday was just so big on the fact that I sat before the game and I thought, see if they get a point, they're in this. But I mean, to go and get the 3 points, and I think in the way that it ended up unfolding, I mean, if your player's sitting in the change room after that, you're absolutely buzzing. But I think and I hope the older players are saying this. I think Derek McInnes, I listened to his interview after it, and he said, look, come to me at Christmas time or start of January, and if we're there or thereabouts, we can have the conversation and I'll answer the question a bit better. These next two games for Hearts, if they come through the next two games and they take 4 or 6 points at the next two games, they're a 100%, for me, at this stage, favourite for the title. I genuinely mean that. I think if they go to Falkirk, or they play Falkirk and they beat Falkirk, and then they'll obviously get Rangers at Tynecastle.
Yep.
2 massive games. If they can come through they two, then I genuinely think we're sitting and we're actually talking about, can they now go? Because they will. I think he's already said that. I think they're light in midfield. They will go in January, and I think they will add to the squad. But I've obviously seen a lot of Hearts, and I've seen them through the little wobble. And again, they're in uncharted waters as well, so it's them learning as they go as well, how to see out games. And I think they'll learn for the Kilmarnock result. I think they'll learn that they were 1-0 up, they should have just seen the game out. They never, and it was their own fault. So they'll learn from that. But I think the next two games are absolutely massive. I think the game against Falkirk more so. Rangers and Celtic and Hibs, these are the kind of games Hearts can take care of themselves in the games, and I genuinely believe that. It's Motherwell, it's Falkirk, it's again Kilmarnock at home. If they go, I think the next two games are absolutely huge, as I said. But I do believe. Listen, I know for a fact they'll be sitting there saying it's an hard game chopped off, then it's an hard game, and we're still there. Once you get over Christmas, New Year, get into January, if they can get through the window, bring a couple of players in, if they can get to the end of January, the start of February, being in and about it, they've got a massive chance.
We've got, just before we let you go, Ryan, we've got comments coming in, and if you're watching at home, you want to get involved in the conversation, please do so in the comment section. Scott is one of a few people saying Hearts have got no chance winning the league. They'll drop points at Falkirk. Rebel says, I can see Falkirk taking points at the weekend. Derek goes further, says, I just feel Hearts will drop a lot of points. Rangers aren't out of this. I was really surprised today, Ryan. We get these PR emails that come in every now and then, and from the league sponsor, William Hill, no less. They make Hearts the third favourites to win the Premiership this season, behind Rangers at 6-1. I mean, you guys have both basically said it, but they've lost 1 of 20 games this season. They've beaten Celtic home and away. They've won at Ibrox. Half the season's almost gone. What more can they do?
Well, the first thing I would do is I'd put that in the changing room.
Aye.
And I would literally put it in the changing room on the big notice board and go, bang, there you go, lads. That's what everybody thinks. That's what Willie Hills thinks. That's their job. They're, professional gamblers. This is how they make their money, and that's what they think is exactly what you say. Look at the run we've been on, and by the way, that's 2 shaky spells that we've seemingly had, the bubble bursting and all that. Now, I'm not saying, listen, Celtic are well within it. Rangers, as much as Hearts were buzzing yet last night, trust me when I say this, Rangers have been sitting in the house going, we're not at it, and I can guarantee you they'll be having a meeting this morning as soon as they come in, and the manager will be saying to the Rangers squad, if we can go on a run, if we can beat Hearts in a week's time, then we're right back in it. So that, listen, there's still a chance for Rangers, Celtic and Hearts. But if you're Hearts, to be in the position they're in, to do what they've done, I mean, you've got to tip your hat off to them, and especially after yesterday. And I get, obviously, a lot of that will be Celtic fans coming in saying, because they'll be raging from what's happened yesterday, and I understand the frustration. But for Scottish football in general, it was an unbelievable result. It's a great advert for the game this year, just the fact that it keeps going, because we all do. Listen, my mates keep messaging me every single week, and my phone was dead last night. Not one of them, not one group chat. And it's just good that every week it keeps ticking by. They're still there. And by the way, the wheels might come off it, but they might not, because we've thought the wheels were going to come off it and they haven't. So Hearts, Derek McInnes says, and it's the most boring answer you can possibly give, Hearts need to just take it one game at a time, play against themselves. But the likes of that would, if it was me, I'd done it when I was in the changing room, I'd stick things like that in the wall and I would just say, there you go, lads, that's what people are still thinking. Can we go at the weekend? They think we're going to drop points. That's the ammunition you need as a player. There's everybody in the outside world saying, I will go to Falkirk and we'll drop points. And I mean, as I said, we'll see over the next 2 or 3 weeks how they fare and how they go. But going on yesterday's performance, I don't think there's anything to fear.
And just very finally, Ryan, as we sit here now, who do you make as Premiership favourites? Do you think Hearts can go all the way?
Yes. I listen, going on what I've seen yesterday, that was the first time I'd seen Celtic live. And I think Celtic will they go big in January? I think they desperately need a striker. I think if the results don't go well for Celtic, will the manager come under massive pressure early doors? So then can the wheels come off it? I mean, there's so many moving factors. Rangers have been better, I think. But I think if they were to go and try and win the league, they would need to sort out their home form, because their away form's been really, really good, but home form's been iffy. So listen, Hearts are, as crazy as it is, we're nearly halfway through the season. You've got to say Hearts have been the best team. So can they keep it going? As a Hearts fan and as an ex-Hearts player, I'm going to say Hearts.
Ryan, a few people were saying that they think your Leckie's been cut off, but you're out coaching, so we massively appreciate you coming on.
No worries. You can just say I'm sitting in the car doing this, so this is the stuff I do for the Daily Record.
Exactly. I felt I should make our viewers aware of that. So thank you so much for coming on, Ryan. It's always a pleasure having you on.
No worries, mate. Thanks very much, guys.
Cheers, Ryan. Mate.
See you later. Cheers.
See you. Ryan Stevenson there, Scott. Obviously giving us the Hearts perspective, but we've got plenty of comments coming in regarding Celtic. Let me hit you a few of these. Sean says, Celtic with a proper striker win that game easily yesterday. It'd be hard to convince me otherwise. Robert says, if Nancy thinks his results don't matter, he's at the wrong club in the wrong country. Gianni says, Roma will keep it tight and execute a goal when required. Celtic and Rangers are absolutely rotten. And this as well, David Watson, one of a few people, Celtic's new manager was more interested in his wee connect forward than the game. And look, I know he's going to take stick for that. Hopefully. And
I was wondering when that would come up.
Exactly. And again, it's quite inconsequential. It's a tactics board and that. But you would like to think someone is saying to him, look, Wilfred, it's no good look.
Nah, it's not. It's probably the kind of thing, see when you do that in MLS, Daniel, nobody really bats an eyelid. Do you know what I mean? People probably think it's pretty cool getting the tactics board out on the touchline, but in Glasgow it's not so cool. Look, the big thing is about the manager at the weekend for Celtic. I know there's a few comments there about if we had a striker, if we had a take our chip. I mean, it's all ifs, buts and maybes. You could say that about every game. No, the bottom line is, as you said at the top of the show, Hearts deserved their win on Sunday. No, there's just no getting away for that. Of course, Celtic had a few chances. Certainly Maida should have taken his big chance in the first half. But Celtic were sloppy for the Hearts goal, switching off. As Ryan said, Braga keeps the move going, keeps focused, puts the ball in the net, while Celtic players are standing about watching, looking for an offside. And then Hearts score a brilliant goal for a set piece. And as the game wore on, actually in that second half, because watching it initially at 1-0, for me, your automatic your instinct says Celtic will come back, and they'll get a goal, they'll get a couple of goals, because that's normally what happens in these games. But as the game wore on, Hearts actually get more comfortable in the game and looked more of a threat going forward. They could have scored a game. Just going back to the manager, I mean, you touched on it earlier. I agree with you. I mean, I'm staggered that he ripped everything up and went with the three.
Couldn't believe it.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, when I was out yesterday before the game and I seen the team, and I was looking at it, obviously, and you're seeing it's going to be a three left footers at the back. Two wingers, Yang, who's been doing really well in the left wing, suddenly playing right wing back. It's a massive change. Tuneke is a wing back, obviously a bit different. I'm just really, really surprised. And I don't want to be harsh on Wilfred Nancy, because he's just in the door. Of course, he deserves. He's going to get time to get it right at Celtic. But I can't get away from the thought, thinking there was maybe just a wee bit of arrogance there coming into that game. Just thinking, it's all right. Hearts are up there challenging, but it's Celtic at home to Hearts. It's a game that we should be able to go and win. We've got better players, so it doesn't really matter what system I go with. We should be good enough to get the job done. And really, I mean, you should have known better than that, because knowing that Hearts a good side, but they've also got one of the best managers in the country, who's been over the course so many times. I think when Derek McInnes looked at that Celtic lineup and the formation, he'd have been rubbing his hands. I think he said post-match he's obviously watched a lot of Columbus Crew in the build-up and had a gut feeling that they were going to go with the 3-4-2-1. He comes up with a game plan to try and nullify that and exploit it in certain areas, and I thought it worked. It worked a treat for him. So it wasn't a great day for the new manager, and obviously coming out afterwards. And again, this might seem like a trivial thing to most people or other fans in different countries, but when he came out saying, it's not about winning or losing. I actually said on the Hotline Live, I'm sure, last week that I'd only watched one interview with Nancy after I think it was after he'd won the MLS Cup with Columbus Crew, and I said at the time he uttered the one phrase that you should never say in Glasgow, and it was something along the lines, winning's not important. It's not about the winning. And that never goes down well in this city, in this country. And obviously he kind of repeated it. And we know the point he's making. He wants to get the performance right, because he believes that if Celtic get the performance right in the way he wants to play and in the system he wants to play, that will mean getting positive results. But unfortunately, this is a city and this is a league. This is an environment where the result almost comes first. I think somebody pointed out on one of the pundits from Sky yesterday said, Mark O'Neill in the last 6 or 7 games, performances weren't actually that great in some of the games. You think the St Mirren game is the prime example. Didn't have a shot on target until injury time, and Callum McGregor comes up with a winner. But nobody complains after it. Nobody's talking about the performance or how Celtic played. So, I think the manager will learn quickly. I agree with Ryan. I think that will be a wee bit of a shock to the system for him yesterday. Wee bit of a culture shock. I don't doubt he's going to stick with the system, because if he goes with the first game, it's clearly what he believes in. I mean, it is a bit like Amarim at Man United. Very, very similar system, obviously. So he clearly believes in it. I think he'll stick to it. How quickly he can get it working and get those Celtic players attuned to it, we're going to need to wait and see. But he's not got a lot of time. Big games coming up thick and fast.
Aye, definitely. You can see in the comments there, Jim Whitefield writes in saying he's going to be sacked by Crimbo. But there's other fans. Billy says, you'll all be eating your words soon. Big Wilf will get his message across and Celtic will be unstoppable. I mean, the guy has literally been in the country for less than a week, so I guess we're going to have to give him time.
Yeah, and Ange Postecoglou, obviously, if you remember, when he came in with a new style. Don't know if the system kind of changed too much. Certainly a new style compared to what Celtic had been used to. What was it, six games, I think?
He lost 3 of his first 6, I think.
First 6. People were questioning him. I think they lost to Livy away, Hearts away, get beat the Rangers at Ibrox. People wanted them hung, drawn and quartered at the time. But look at how that turned out. No, Wilfred Nancy, I think, is very different character, different personality, certainly a different system. And style, I would suggest it's going to take a bit of time, but the guy's right. He needs a bit of time. But it's as we've discussed, it's tight at the top of the table now. So there's not a lot of wriggle room. No, I don't think Nancy can go. I don't think he'll get that almost 6 game, even a 6 game period, if you like. I don't think he could go and lose 3 out of the first 6 at this stage of the season. It's totally different coming in the middle of a campaign as opposed to Postecoglou coming in the summer. So no, he's going to need to get it right pretty quick, but he needs a wee bit of time.
I really want to talk about the Rangers game, because I know you were at it on Saturday, Scott, but just to round up on the Celtic Hearts game, Mark says this is Hearts' big chance. Great start against collectively the worst Celtic and Rangers side in the same season. Where do you stand on Hearts then? I mean, would you right now put them as favourites to win the league?
No, I think I'd probably still put Celtic, just because you look at the points. What is it? Hearts 3 ahead, but Celtic have got a game in hand, so it's pretty much I would, if Celtic win that game, obviously it's neck and neck. I think Celtic, with their experience, quality of player, you would expect Celtic to come good. No, that's I don't think I'm kind of shocking anybody by saying that. However, I agree with Mark in the comment. I don't think Hearts will ever get a better chance, Daniel, when you look at the Old Firm. The fact that they've, as you say, they've already beaten Celtic home and away now. Well, when does that ever happen in a season? They've went to Ibrox. Ryan Stevenson's right. There should be Hearts should have no fear about going anywhere now in the Scottish Premiership. As I said earlier, Celtic away is the toughest game you're going to get. That's the best you're going to come up against. And they went there. Of course, it was tough. Of course, they were under the cosh at certain points in the game, but they stood up to it, and they get out of there not just with a point, which people would have said would have been a great result for Hearts. To actually go there and win, could have scored more. As I say, thoroughly deserved their win at Ibrox. I know Rangers are certainly at that stage, we're in a worse state than Celtic are now. But nothing to fear for Hearts. And I agree with Ryan. I mean, the next 2 games are going to be vital. If they can get to the window still top, strengthen the squad. I don't think there'll be massive changes for Derek McInnes, but I think he'll tweak a couple of things. He'll add in certain areas that need strengthened. but he'll not want to upset the kind of dynamic of the squad too much, then I think they've got a big chance. Because you look at Rangers and Celtic at the moment, no, they don't look guaranteed to win every game. No, they're certainly, as Ryan says, Rangers at home don't look very strong at all this season, and Celtic, going away from home, if you think of the obviously losing at Hearts, even that St Mirren game a few weeks ago, as I mentioned, where they didn't play well at all and got out of jail with McGregor's winner. They look beatable, and it's certainly been a while since we've said that about Celtic. So I think Hearts have got a brilliant chance.
I mentioned the Kilmarnock Rangers game on Saturday. It was the Boy Amiowski show, Scott. I think we can actually hear a little bit from the Rangers striker now after the game.
You believe rhythm's important as a striker. You have to get into that run of scoring.
Every football player wants to play, and spend more time on the pitch. So, as I say, I didn't have that last year, and as I said, I played 3 games in a row from starting 11. I hope they keep playing. Having
extra players like Mikey Moore coming back into the team and other attacking options, that must encourage you.
Of course, Mikey is a top player. He's for a reason he was in Tottenham, and he's a great player. So of course he's helping us a lot. He showed that today. He showed that in the past. So of course it's nice to be back in the team.
How difficult has it been to manage the outside frustrations this season? Some of the fans have been angry with some results. You have to block that out so your spirits don't go down too low.
It's normal thing in every football club. If you don't have results, the fans are angry, but that's normal in football. We are focused on the pitch and try to improve. It's normal. If you win, of course you're the best. When you lose, but it's normal.
How encouraged are you by the new manager? Do you see big things coming with him in charge?
Yeah, he's a great coach, great experience. He worked a lot in the past with a great manager. So of course he's trying to show us where we can improve. Or as he say, we don't have too much time on the pitch because there's a lot of games. But we spend a lot of times in the building, watch videos, and we can improve. And I think we are getting better.
How impressed were you by the saves that Jack Butland made tonight? He had a couple.
Yeah, he's a great goalkeeper. He's showing. Of course, he's on the big level, and he's still on the big level. So of course, he's a great goalkeeper. I'm not surprised that he's making the saves.
Boy Amiowski there, Scott. A really good win for Rangers at Rugby Park on Saturday night. And all of a sudden, looking at the comment section, there's a newfound optimism, and Rangers fans seem to be getting really excited. I mean, Fred says Rangers are getting better and only have been beaten once in the league so far. Derek says Rangers, they should sign Gogic, McKenna, Porteous and get Kenny McLennan. Ali simply says the title is Rangers. And Derek again says Rangers by no means out of this. Look, I get that in one hand it's been a disastrous start to the season for Rangers, but on the flip side, if they go to Tynecastle and win on the 21st, all of a sudden we've got a 3-way title race, I'd say.
First of all, how bad were the questions at that press conference? Who was asking you that? That wasn't Newport, was it?
I thought they were great.
No, look, I mean, we're saying about Hearts having 2 or 3 vital games coming up, Falkirk, Rangers and Hibs. I think you can say the exact same about Rangers, Daniel. I think we'll know after this, this kind of glut of games Rangers have over Christmas whether they're serious title contenders. Danny Roll's record's good. There's no getting away for that. 7 league games, 5 wins compared to where they were before he came in. He's definitely improved them. He's made them, they're more structured, more organised, more difficult to score against. Obviously, they've brought the set piece coach in. I know I think they've only scored for 1 set piece, but they look a bit stronger defending set pieces. I would suggest don't look as susceptible to losing goals, which is important. Majowski scoring again is obviously a boost for them. And even with him, I think Danny Rose made a difference. It was interesting listening to Majowski talking about the kind of the pep talk he's had with the manager after a kind of poor run of form. And I think a couple of things that would have come out of that, Majowski touched on one of them himself, rhythm, playing games every week, starting every week. I think he makes a really good point there, and probably something that you forget and don't really consider when you're maybe having a go at strikers is that he's came out a season last year with Girona, hardly playing, in and out, playing a couple of games, out for a few games, really difficult. Comes into Rangers and it's the same at the start of this season. Really, no getting a proper run. Different managers going with 1 week Shamiti, 1 week Majowski. I think that's difficult for strikers, and I think it's probably. I know Shamiti's obviously the £8 million man that everybody talks about, but it's probably a wise move for Danny Rowe, almost just to stick with Majowski. Now, I said this a few weeks ago. You almost had to just stick with somebody up front and say you're going to start the next 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
Just try and get them into that rhythm, and that's the first thing. The other thing I think about Majowski is, and it's quite ironic because a lot of people have said this season he's not been as effective as he was at Aberdeen because he had a lot more space to run in behind at Aberdeen, and he's not getting that at Rangers. I actually think his game's improved in the last wee while because he's dropped deep. And I think Danny Rowe mentioned it the other day. There was a few games with Majowski where he was staying on the last line, the opposition defences, because that's what people see him as. A guy that stays in the last man, ready for that ball in behind. But for some of the Rangers games, he was completely anonymous. He just wasn't involved in the game. The Falkirk home game being a prime example of that.
Aye.
Whereas watch him against Dundee, there's a marked difference in the last couple of games. Dundee United and Kilmarnock. I know he didn't score at Tannadice, but he's dropping deeper, getting involved in the game. His link-up play's been better. It's been cleaner. And I think within himself, he feels more involved in terms of the build-up. But he's still managing to get himself into the box. And his 2 finishes at Kilmarnock the other night were excellent. Reminiscent of the goals he was scoring at Aberdeen. The first one, really instinctive, that kind of toe bash in amongst a group of players. Probably he's the only guy thinking about that finish in the box. And then the second one again, really clever, peels off, gives the goalkeeper the eyes and goes in the other side. Really, really clinical. So that's been a major boost for Rangers. In terms of the title race, I wouldn't be getting carried away just yet. I think they've still got a long way to go. I think we agree there has to be major additions in January, as well as maybe players going out. But I think if Rangers can just keep in touch at the top, keep in touch with Celtic and Hearts, I would suggest within 6 points, which I think they are now. I think that's basically the difference between them just now. If they're still within 6 points when they get to the window and make additions, then I think you can say Rangers are in it. Assuming, and if they're within 6 points, then this will be right. Assuming that they get some good results over the festive period. When you look at those fixtures, they're really difficult. You mentioned it the other night. I mean, Hibs at home, Hearts away,
Celtic away in the third.
Motherwell are really in form at Ibrox, which is no gimme these days. Then get a double header in January against Aberdeen, twice in 4 days. Ibrox and Pittodrie. Aberdeen, who have hit a bit of form again.
4 wins in a row now for them,
Really, really difficult fixture list for Danny Rowe in this squad, which is still pretty limited. As I say, if they're still in the mix, within 6 points when they get to the January window, when they come out of those games, then I think we could have a proper 3-way title race in our hands.
In the comments, James says, finally, not just Miovski getting a double, but scoring goals out of nothing. That's going to be huge if he can keep it up. Ali says Mikey Moore is going to the top. Enjoy him while you can. Blue Nose John says the German efficiency of Rowe and his assistants is starting to come good. Green Machine says Rangers will get better, but it'll be next season as they have too many players who are nowhere near Rangers level. And look, I don't want to get too bogged down in this, Scott, right? Because we talked about it last night, and I feel like sometimes this isn't the Hotline Live, it's the Hotline VAR show. But Stuart writes in saying Butland should have been sent off that challenge outside the box, took him clean out. I mean, where do you stand? Do you think Butland was lucky not to get sent off, and Diomande, was it a penalty?
I think Diomande was luckier, Daniel. I think it's so lazy for Diomande, and I think the tug does carry on at the box. You see that image there. Well, David Watson's clearly in the box, and Diomande's still got a hold of him. I get the other argument, and I think this is the referee's argument, that basically Watson was going to have no impact or influence on the play. No, he was so far away, there wasn't going to have any impact on him. But I still just think, from Diomandi's point of view, you're lucky to get away with that. I think Rangers are lucky to get away with that. They didn't look at it. No, with more kind of scrutiny. The Butland one, I mean, I've watched it. I don't know what you think. I mean, I've watched it so many times now, and I still can't really make up my mind as to. I get the argument that I think if a midfielder or a centre back goes in a challenge like that with that force and that kind of speed, he'd be lucky to escape a red card. However, we know what football's like. Goalies have been getting away with this for years. Do you know what I mean? Goalies always get away with more, especially when they fly off the line like that. It's just part of the game. So and also, if you don't think it's it's a straight red just for the tackle. No, in terms of being last man, I don't think that's the case. I think Tavernier's obviously getting round. So probably a yellow card, I think, would have suffice for the Butland one, if I'm really honest. But I think the Diomandi one's so stupid, and
it's crazy that.
Lucky to get away with that because it was just so unnecessary.
I think you're spot on with the Butland one. Like I can't. I've watched it so many times. I can't really call it. I think, like you say, if a centre half comes out and flies in like that, he's probably going to get sent off. But then he's a goalie, he's coming out, and Bruce Anderson toe pokes it kind of off him, and is that then he's kind of made a save? It's difficult to interpret. So Adam, I agree. I think the yellow would have probably sufficed.
No, I think that's a difficult one. I know we have a go at the officials and slaughter them at times, but I think that's tough.
And rightly so.
I know, but me and you have sat and watched that now numerous times over the course of 48 hours and still can't really come to a conclusion about it. So it's difficult, certainly difficult, for Kevin Clancy in the heat of the moment. Obviously the VAR team get a better look at it, can watch different angles, slow it down. But even then, I just think it's tough. And if they're sitting there thinking, as we are, that they're a bit undecided about it, then they need to say to the ref, well, look, play on. There's no...
it's not clear and obvious.
It's not clear and obvious that there has to be a different decision there. So, I'm a bit like that with the Butland one. But Diomandi, I think they were fortunate. And it's also... And I know you have spoke about it the other night, but the Mikey Moore goal getting disallowed is ridiculous. I've watched that so many times as well.
That was wild.
I mean, the first few times I watched, I couldn't work out why it was getting chalked off.
No, me neither. I couldn't work it out. I had the TV turned right down, so it was basically mute, and I was thinking, what's going on?
I know. And obviously it's for that kind of coming together. I think Watson and Fernandez, but you can't be chalking goals off for that. But when the player in question, Watson, I think Keith said it the other night, there was no way he was ever getting back. He wasn't going to impact that move. So why would you want to chalk a goal off for that? It was crazy.
And because the Bruce Anderson offside as well was just madness is the word for it. It was a good 3 or 4 yards onside.
And he got an offside right when the guy's in his own half. I mean, what chance have you got? I mean, it's made easy for you, the fact that he's in his own half. So, crazy.
Before we finish then, Scott, I want to talk a little bit about the World Cup draw. I did talk about it last night. I talked about it last night with Keith and Swanee, but I've not had your good cell phone to get your take on it. I asked our trusty producer Henrik, I said, if you can get some photos of the stadiums that Scotland will be playing in, that would be great for the show. And see, after looking at them, I didn't think it was possible for me to be more buzzing, but I am absolutely buzzing for this. I can't wait.
Listen, I'm the same. Actually, the day at different points in the day, I've been watching wee videos. I think it must have been FIFA have come up with these wee kind of promo videos for each of the cities.
Oh, I think I've seen that.
I sort of get like actors in that, and I think ex-players. I think it was an ex-player that did the Boston one, and then it was an actor that did the Miami one. Just the wee videos, just looking at those cities, those venues. I mean,
look at that, Scotland, Brazil, in that stadium in Miami.
That's incredible, isn't it? Absolutely incredible. It's so exciting, mate. I mean, it still feels surreal. I mean, we don't know yet if we're going to be there individually. Obviously, Scotland will be there, but the thought of being there, potentially being there at those games, the excitement around them, the build-up, the atmosphere, it's just, I don't think it's really sunk in yet, to be honest, that Scotland are actually going to be there and be involved. And I was even thinking, if I'm not there, we work. I mean, you look at the kick-off times, and I know they're a bit mad because it's late. Can you imagine the build-up to that Haiti game, 2 a.m, kick-off? The pubs are going to stay open. Everybody will be up late. The whole day's build-up to the opening game of the World Cup. It's going to be absolutely incredible. So it just can't come quick enough. And what I think you look forward to. It's going to be unbelievable.
Mark in the comments says, I'm one of the only few people that can afford to go. That I can assure you that I can assure you that's not true. He also says $3,000 for a Brazil ticket. And Scott also says ticket prices are ridiculous. I don't know. I mean, a few people have written in about this. From the figures I've seen bandied about, it is verging on criminal. The ticket prices.
Aye, and that's no. We're getting excited about it. No, for a work point of view, but you're right. I mean, we're talking about how good it is for the fans, but when you see some of those ticket prices, and obviously the flight prices will be up now, and people will be scatting about trying to get booked up, planes, trains, and automobiles to get there. It's so expensive. I mean, you think I looked at a ticket price thing the other night. I think it was for the Haiti game, and you see football tickets at £1,000. No, about £1,000. It's mental. Just unthinkable. No, you know what the Tartan Army's like. You know they'll be there in their numbers. No, by hook or by crook, they will be in those stadiums. You say big capacity stadiums. I don't doubt Scotland will be well represented, but I mean, how the normal punter on the street is meant to afford that, I just don't know. Just so, and that's the other side to it. As I say, you're getting so excited about the tournament, but if normal football fans can't get to it, or can't get in, can't see their team through finances, then there's something not quite right.
Ali sums it up best. Football's invented for the poor, now hijacked by the prawn sandwich mob.
Yeah, that's true, unfortunately.
A fair point. Just very finally, Scott, do you give us a chance over there? I mean, Haiti, you can get through technically with one victory, and I'm not taking anything for granted against Haiti, but
no,
I think we've got half a chance.
I've got half a chance. I mean, the Haiti game's interesting. In a way, it's brilliant because that's who you'd want in the first game, try and get 3 points on the board. Let's not beat about the bush. But by the same token, we're Scotland, so seeing the days before that game, we're going to be a bag of nerves, aren't we, before the Haiti game? Because all we'll think about is what happens if this is another Costa Rica? What happens if this goes wrong? That's just our mentality, rightly or wrongly. We will just think, oh my God, what if Haiti actually go and beat us or take a point off us? But no, we shouldn't be like that. This team, as they've proved the last couple of tournaments, getting into the last couple of Euros, their performance obviously against Denmark to get us to the World Cup, we should have a bit more trust and a bit more faith in them. I agree with you. I mean, if you get 3 points, which you'd expect, what an opportunity you've got. I mean, even a draw against Morocco, who are a top side now. Let's not kid them. But if you could somehow get a point against them, can you imagine getting into? That's what I'm saying. Can you imagine getting into a World Cup game with Brazil, knowing that you're already through, you're all but through to the knockout phase? It would just be unreal. And look, I don't want to put a dampener on it because you say we can't wait, but I do fear for us a little bit in terms of the squad. I think we need to add. I think somehow Steve Clarke in the next 6 months, he has to find a way of adding pace, energy, athleticism. You've got to get a bit of that into the squad, and it's not a slight on the guys that are there. I just look at world football now, and the teams. I look at Africa, some of the African nations, Asian nations, obviously the big European nations. It's all about energy and pace and power and speed and athleticism. Daniel, and I don't think we've got enough of that at the moment. I think someone like Harvey Barnes,
I was going to ask you.
If he's going to declare himself available, I would take him every day of the week. And I know people will have opinions on that. Don't think it's right that he just gets parachuted into the squad. But no, I want Scotland to do as well as we possibly can in this World Cup. No, try and get into the knockout phase. You don't turn down a guy to Harvey Barnes' ability. No, if he's available and willing to play for Scotland. And I think Steve Clarke's got to try and get others, even a bit more youth, if possible. I know, for instance, like Lennon Miller's not playing a lot at Udinese just now. I hope that changes and he can get himself really involved in it.
Kieran Bowie's scoring at the weekend twice.
Kieran Bowie's another one. I think he offers us something a bit more, something a bit different in terms of the striking options. I look at Josh Mulligan at the weekend. And he was outstanding for Hibs against Falkirk. Well, I look at him and I know we're well off in midfield and it's very difficult for people to get into that midfield. But I look at Mulligan and he's got so much power and strength and pace. And again, I think he just adds something else to that group. So at the moment, and there's a long way to go, but at the moment, he would be my thoughts for the squad as well. So, I mean, a lot can change, injuries for him. But that's my one thing, 6 months before the tournament, I think Steve Clarke's got to use this, and he's no dafty, he'll know this.
Aye.
I think to go to the tournament, you think of the weather conditions and that over there as well, Daniel. I think we need a bit more, a wee bit of freshness, wee bit of energy, a bit of speed, a bit of pace, just to maybe take us to another level, or at least give us options off the bench, even if he's kind of starting 11 might be pretty much fixed. So that's my only kind of fear just now. But listen, that's part of the excitement. Who can force their way in? Can a Mulligan have a brilliant last 6 months of the season where you need to take him? Same with Bowie.
Mm-hmm.
The Harvey Barnes thing's going to come up. Can we find another goalkeeper for somewhere? That's another big question,
point,
but really, really prevalent. So, it's so exciting. So exciting. Just can't wait.
Scotland Haiti is 185 days away, and I honestly don't think I'm going to sleep between now and then. But for tonight, that brings us to the end of the Hotline Live with Record Sport. Thank you so much for all your questions and comments. They've been brilliant as ever. We'll be back to do it all again at 6 p.m. tomorrow. I hope you can join us then. Scott, it is always a pleasure.
Cheers, Daniel. No doubt I'll speak to you for Budapest in the next couple of days.
I'll be pestering you over the next couple of days, no doubt.
Me and Andy will be on call, don't worry.
Nice one. Thank you very much for watching at home. Hope you can join us tomorrow. Cheers.